Great defeaters, new and old, welcome back to another episode of The Breakdown with your hosts, BaseDaKID, Tony, the Pugilist Boy. We are the children of the game. Tony, how has your weekend been?
Well, my weekend, sir, has been mixed.
Oh,
I've had some fabulous weekends up to this one, and I got to be honest, boxing was not great this weekend. I'm afraid to say, boxing was not great.
are you
Unfortunately,
sure
I
it's
don't think.
boxing that wasn't great or something else?
Okay, we can even go there. My team, look, we didn't lose. We didn't lose, but hey, squeaky bum time for the Arsenal fans. Big up to all the Arsenal fans in the chat. But yeah, the boxing, which is what we're here for, we're gonna get through this kind of quick. This is gonna be a potential all-time short show.
Yeah, provided you don't waffle on. Yeah, sure. All right, greet the great defeaters, and then we'll go into it.
Okay, big up all the defeaters. First in the house this evening. Looks like it was White Tony. Big up, my brethren.
Big up,
Fat
Tony.
Man Danny in the house. Big up to yourself. Jam Down 187. Big up. Jay Lands in the house. Spooker D in the house. Member Jonah 31. We have to big up our members. Stats and Facts. Big up to you. Hot Pies. Bless up, brother. Welcome one and all. And those who are about to join us, welcome. Let's get it on.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Right, so because this is probably the least entertaining, I guess maybe some people will feel the least entertaining fight on the card, but fairly significant. We'll go straight into Michaela Mayer versus Lucy Wildheart. Now, because you didn't see much of it, I'm gonna let you start and then I'm gonna finish off. We got about a 6 minute clip, so hopefully we can get everything done within the 6 minutes. Go for it.
Yeah. So literally, this fight was to me, one of the better fights of the night, in all honesty, because most of the fights didn't actually produce much by way of action sustained. But one thing I will give Lucy Wildheart, who came in with 24 hours notice to replace the somewhat strange decision by the BBLC to not allow Lina Datu to fight Michaela Mayer. But Wildheart came in and she gave her best. You can see she's teeing off for Michaela. She's got good shot selection. She throws her hands well, but she just was in against a much slicker operator, someone who was able to use her length, with a good jab, which you see preceding all of her shots. And obviously, Michaela Mayer has competed at such a higher level. But having said that, this went all 10 rounds. I gave pretty much every round to Michaela Mayer. I would have given a share of the spoils to Lucy Wildheart in the second round. But there was no round where Michaela was so dominant that you could go, oh, there was a potential 10-8 round. No, Lucy gave her best. As you see, she mixes it with Mayer. She throws shots when she can. That overhand right seemed to find a regular place, as you can see. But Michaela was just the better class operator through the entire 10 rounds. Over to you, my friend.
It's funny you say that there was no round where you could give like a 10-8, because I think one of the judges actually did, because one of the scorecards was 98-91.
Yeah.
So unless they totally missed a round, the only way to reconcile that is they gave Michaela a 10-8 somewhere, but they gave Lucy Wildheart 2 rounds out of the 10. Which, yeah, none of that really made sense to me. But if I talk about the action, basically the first couple rounds, Michaela Mayer was just trying to work behind the jab, was circling the periphery of the ring, for some reason allowing the shorter and the smaller girl naturally to actually dictate center. But Michaela was stabbing to the body quite a bit and then was trying to dig to the body, as we can see there. Pretty much her whole attack was to try and take away Lucy's legs, dig to the body, and then sort of make the head follow from there. But as you can kind of see from a lot of these shots, now you can't hear the sound, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be able to speak, but there's not a huge amount that's actually on a lot of those punches. There's maybe one or two where she was able to really dig them in, and Lucy would visibly sort of wince at those particular shots, but it didn't seem like there was any real grit or snap on a lot of Michaela's shots throughout the entire 10 rounds. There was 2 or 3 periods while I was there where I said there's this, Michaela could easily force a stoppage here, but it's like she wasn't seeing when she was actually hurting Lucy, and then she wasn't pressing Lucy to actually to really sort of step on the gas at that particular point. And it was a very sort of frustrating to watch, because like she was so much bigger, just like in terms of height and size and everything. You can clearly see she's a much bigger girl. Like, impose your will, impose your dominance. You've got the strength advantage, it looks like. You've definitely got the height, you've got the size. Like, you're digging to the body, but yet for some reason, even though you're digging to the body, it doesn't really seem to be doing much. Or when it is, you're not reading the tells and you're backing off and then allowing Lucy to recover, because Lucy seems to have pretty good powers of recovery. And the way you stop that and you smother that is by you stay on the chest and don't give them the opportunity to recover at that time. So yeah, just as you can see, a lot of it looks a bit, even though it's probably she thinks she's really digging in hard, it looks like it's like tippy tappy shots. And throughout the 10 rounds, you just think, okay, well, you break her down for like the first 3-4, and then you just really put it on her after that. But I mean, Lucy was tough. She sort of stuck in there. She took some big shots that she did wobble from. But again, as I said, powers of recovery. But she didn't make it an easy night for Michaela. And there was, I guess, Brian Cohen wasn't very happy about this, because apparently Lucy was supposed to have been in a fight a week ago, and they pulled her out, and she pulled out of that fight supposedly with a leg injury, only to now be fit for this fight after the Leonardo thing. So there's a lot of particular speculations and rumors going on about the BBBOC actually always wanting Lucy Wildheart in this fight. Some little speculations I've heard. So yeah, or maybe they just, I guess, lined her up as a replacement if they couldn't get the additional piece of medical evidence from Leonardo too. Who knows? But either way, there are some things that I've seen and I've heard since that don't really sit well and make you feel like there might have been a bit of shenanigans at play. But none of that is on Lucy. Like, she done her job. She didn't get stopped. She tried to push Michaela as much as she could. Yeah, she did her job, and fair play to her. Now, where's Tony gonna run off to? You're on mute.
Thought I could nip away quickly while it
No,
turns
you
on.
can't.
So I'm back. So
Right.
yeah, well done, Lucy Wildheart. I was trying to like look up, and you know what you do when you're looking up fights. You want to see, okay, who's this stepping in? What's their record? Who've they fought? And this was one of those occasions, yeah, where I looked at Lucy Wildheart's record, and I came across her previous opponent before she fought, and it's this young lady by the name of Claudia Ferenzi. Do you know her?
Yeah, I know of her. I won't say I know her, but I know who she is.
I mean, I've never seen this, and this was a first for me. Claudia Ferenzi, who is Lucy Wildheart's opponent just before she fights Michaela Mayer, is a young lady from Slovakia who has a record of 20 wins, 10 by KO, and 100 losses.
Mm-hmm.
But she's only been knocked out 6 times.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, what a record. She fought 6 times in 2022. I'm like, what the hell? this is like, we got the journeyman in boxing in the men's game. Well, this was the definition of a journeywoman. She has some serious, and she's fought some good people on her record. She's fought some serious people on her record. She's fought Shannon Ryan. She was Shannon Ryan's first opponent.
Mm-hmm.
She's fought Nina Hughes. She's fought some good boxers on her record. So
yeah, journeymen and journey women, they're the lifeblood of the sport.
They are. It was for me, it was the first time I've ever seen a journey woman at that stage in the female boxing game, because we know there are plenty of men who have got losing records stacking up towards the 100. This was the first time I'd seen it in the women's game.
Fair enough. All right. In effort to try and keep things ticking along for the people, we will go to the next fight on the card, which we'll speak about. So we're gonna have a look at young Moises Atalma and his 6th-round over Konstantin Dobischenko. I will start this one. Right. So as you can see here, this is the first round, and Moises comes straight out with power, thinking that he's gonna do to Dobischenko the same as he did to his previous 2 opponents. As you can see there, he's looking to try and set up that heavy backhand from the start. He's using the lead right hand just to kind of probe. As you can see, he's not really throwing out the jab, but he's also cocking the elbow so he can try and gain some separation so he can throw the backhand over the top. He starts to, as you can see there, he starts to sort of change the trajectory and start to go to the body, thinking that, okay, Dobischenko clearly has never been stopped, but maybe he's just got a hard head, but there's a lot of flesh to hit. But he's, as you can see, he kind of, this is, in this particular clip, I've left the entire first round in there so people can kind of see basically the smoke that Moises was on and what he was actually attempting. So as you can see, everything is basically just about throwing with as much power as possible. He's not really setting up the combinations as such. He's just trying to look for openings that he can throw something either down the pipe or land something to the body that's going to make Dobischenko like wince. And when I was in the arena, there was a couple times I saw him hit Dobischenko, and I heard the sound of the shot, and I was like, oh, this feels like, yeah, he's really sinking one in. Maybe this might be the time that the guy goes down. But when you actually watch Dobischenko in the ring and you see him like up close and personal, you actually see how he's so durable and how he manages to survive. Because every time he crouches down, you might see it in a second right there, he folds his arms in. He keeps his gloves right by the top of his chin, by his cheeks, so that nothing kind of gets through that side, and he's able to roll his head away from anything that goes above where the gloves are. And he keeps his arms most of the time tucked just by sort of a side where his ribs are, so not much actually gets through. And every time that sort of stuff does get through, it's like he's able to tense and work through it. You know, he got caught a couple of good times, but as you can see there, he's just proper on Moises, making sure that he just tucks up and stays safe, stays consistent. And you'll see in a moment, the end of the first round goes, and then from the second round kind of onwards, Moises kind of realizes, okay, I'm just going to blow this guy out with one shot. So I'm going to have to figure out how to basically do this a bit smarter. And in the second round, he tries to vary up and go a bit more for combinations. And then after that, he starts getting pressed by Dobischenko, which you guys will see in a moment, where Dobischenko starts coming forward and Moises starts having to back up and box more on the back foot as opposed to the front. I'm happy to talk through the rest of this clip, Tony, unless you want to jump in while the clip's going.
Yeah, I'm happy to just give my little tuppence worth, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
You know, I've got to give the credit to the Ukrainian Dobischenko. I thought he was very good in being a suitable type of opponent. I like the fact that he holds his hands up in a really good position. So he's able to take a lot of those wild hooks to the head on the gloves. Obviously, Itama comes through with some beautiful shots on, through the middle of the gloves, and also picks some great shots underneath the elbows throughout the fight. But I got to give credit to the Ukrainian. Obviously, there you see him geeing up the crowd. He's a seasoned vet. He's a seasoned vet. He's got 9 wins and 13 losses. But in those 13 losses, he's never been KO'd. One draw to his credit. So he clearly knows how to keep himself in a fight. And I think this was the perfect opponent for Moises at this stage in his career. It's a nice that he gets six decent rounds, from this fight. He gets to try a lot of things. And obviously a bit of showboating there. But, I think I listened to the post-fight interview from Moises, and he realizes, that there's things that he needs to now go back and work on. If he wants to be successful in this game, people will be looking at this kind of opponent and saying, well, can you take him out? But much like Jermaine Franklin a couple of weeks ago, you got to look at this guy's record. People ain't taking him out. He's clearly got a very solid chin and good defense. He knows how to look after himself. He knows when to back off. He knows when to hold. He's got a very good head movement. And the fact that he keeps his hands up, any of my guys that you guys are in my gym, who I was teaching today about Mike Tyson, peekaboo, head movement, look at Dobischenko, he shows if I keep my hands to my head rather than move my head and my hands separately, more often than not, when the hook comes in, they're going to catch. And that's a very good example to young boxers that, the integrity of keeping your hands up makes a huge difference down the road. As I said to my kids in the gym today, there ain't nobody in the game who can do that Philly shell like Floyd. So lots of guys keep thinking, I can come in and I can drop hands here and there. No, there's only one Floyd. There only ever has been one Floyd. That attention to detail and keeping your hands up will keep you in a fight if you don't have the skills to be able to trade with a guy or outbox a guy. So, well done to that young man from Ukraine. Interesting fight. Look forward to seeing Moises in his next fight.
Okay. Just before we carry on, big ups to G-Chain, who came in a little bit late, but better late never. Big up to you. And
What's up,
James
brother?
Douglas as well. And Nando Lamas. Big up to you, my guy.
Paso,
every time.
hombre. ¿Qué tal?
So, all right. So 2 down, 2 to go. As you guys can see, we're kind of blowing through everything at the moment, which is we're respecting everyone's time today. We will finish on time. We're gonna go to what we crown as, I guess, the undefeated portion of this show. And in that sense, we go to one of the honorary great defeaters of the undefeated channel, and that is none other than Denzel Bentley. Now, I'm gonna let Tony talk about this one. You're gonna have to talk quick. There's only 45 seconds of footage.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So Denzel comes out and he's up against a taller foe in this guy, but he comes out looking to kill, to get this guy into his kill zone and to destroy. He's clearly got seek and destroy on his mind, and when he does unload, it seems like it's a temple shot to me that starts the work, and obviously it shows that look, he's worked on his power, he's worked on his combinations. This was all about timing, and when the temple shot comes in, it's all over. Boom. It's so little action there to talk about, obviously, but this is all down to preparation, hard work, diligence, and basically you know, doing what you've been told to do in the gym. You know, these is the moments where you go, there, you know, I did the hard work in the gym to make the ring work easy. You know, that's what it's all about. We do the hard work in the gym to try to make the real stuff easy. And on this occasion, it paid off perfectly. Timing was on point. You know, the punch selection was excellent. And literally, as I said, the headshot that kind of rocked the world of his opponent was just too much. And we saw a nice, easy stoppage for Denzel. So congratulations, my brother.
Okay, like, so let me, since it's only 45 seconds, I'm gonna do proper analysis on this. All right.
Surprised you didn't
So
have it slowed down, brother.
no, I don't need to do that. All in real time. So as you can see there, Kieran's trying to keep Denzel on the outside. He's trying to use his lead hand to offset Denzel's, as he is the naturally taller guy who potentially has a longer reach as well. But he's pouring with it. He's not really sticking it in Denzel's face. But Denzel's inching forward. He's trying to find his angle to see exactly where he can counter him. He steps back, he inches back forward, and he's feinting to see how Kieran reacts. The next thing he does is he throws the backhand, as we'll see in a moment, to get him offset. And then as he's coming back, he catches him with that short left hook. And that's what brings Kieran Smith to the ropes. And he goes straight to the body. If you guys see it, he hits to the body, and then to bring Kieran's hands down. And then he tries to go over the top to the head with the left. And as Kieran's falling back, he falls to the side, and as he's falling to the side, that's when Denzel sweeps him with the shot. I'm going to show everyone again on that last bit, just so you can actually see the part where we're talking about. I could have uploaded the 10-second part as well, but I like all this, the initial just fainting. As you guys can see, he's just looking where the foot placement is. Where, all right, every time I feint, what does he do? How does he react? And you can see Kieran reacts to basically everything. He's twitching, whereas Denzel is just more fluid with it. So as we see in a moment when he comes with the backhand, and then he angles to the body straight after that backhand. Right, here it comes, backhand to the body, down, over the top, and then Kieran falls into the side of the shot, which catches him straight on the temple. The last shot didn't even touch. It looked, from where I was, it looked like it touched on it as he was on the way down. It didn't even land. Kieran was just out from that first one, out cold. No, there was no chance of any. He was just motionless on the ring. We saw it for the entire period of time he was in the. We was out in the in the crowd. Like, he was just motionless. So Denzel's either worked on his power or he's worked on his placement. And it was a beautiful sight to see. Obviously, again, he's in there with another southpaw, so he's trying to build back up to the the work of the famous Kazakhstanian. However, I actually think he should maybe go for one of the other belts first, if he's going to go that route, and then potentially look for that as a unification, as opposed to trying to challenge him again. Because there's other belts that I feel like if he's going to go that route, he's got more chance of winning first off. But he's desperate to get back to that world scene, and we'll see how long it takes him to get there.
So once again, very quickly, sorry to interrupt. For the guys, I know some of my students at the gym, they watch my breakdowns. We were working today, the jab, and then the backhand, left backhand. That was the combination. You don't always have to lead with the jab, but if you work yourself into the right position, especially when you're fighting a southpaw counter puncher, that lead right, boom. That was the one that caused the upset. The lead right, and then the left hook at the end of it. That created all kind of mayhem for Kieran Smith. And we worked on that today in the gym. It's again learning stuff that people can see, that I teach in my classes. You can see those things are the sort of things that guys work on over and over again. These timing patterns, things that we know work against southpaws, or if you're southpaw, you reverse it for the orthodox fighter. That these things will work. So it's significant that we can see technically how good Denzel is from that bit 45-second piece of work.
Okay. Shout out to Lucan, who came in a little bit late. Big up to Karma. Karma Serene. If Karma's watching the stream, you know you've made it. So thank you very much.
Press up.
Who else
Also
we
got
got
to
in?
give a shout out to Rosie Mason. Thank you, Rosie, for joining us.
I haven't finished.
Oh, my bad. Whoa, easy,
All right.
Tiger, easy.
All right, Rosie, we were gonna get to you, but thank you very much for it. Helped that Denzel, his opponent, had no footwork. I mean, you're very, very correct. And again, Denzel was maneuvering him all night. He made sure that every time he stepped to the outside of his lead foot, and he kept stepping and then stepping back to see how he would react. So yes, he did incredible work in that space to create his opening, and to get Kieran like apprehensive and basically faint and reacting to the wrong things, which is obviously what got him caught in the end. Just in my perspective, another member, thank you very much for attending. We prefer late than never, so thank you. Fight fan, that's how you deal with a southpaw box. So don't be giving them the secrets. You're a southpaw. You don't want people to know how to deal with you. Remember, we got our spar coming up. We'll talk about that later when the episode drops. Fight fan also says Denzel has always had power, though. To be fair, that's true. He's got those he's just got those those long sort of skinny arms. They're like pistons. They do catch you, and it's hard when you get caught by one of those shots. Fight fan also says Matteo Signani for the European title, Denzel should go for. Yep. We had a bit of a conversation about that the other day. MCB, bless up. Thank you very much for joining. He also says next move for Denzel, think he should pursue a level above Shiraz. That's correct, because we believe he's above the Commonwealth. And Fight Fan says I'm a different breed. I ain't no Kieran Smith. Well, that's fair enough. But if you're still giving away the secrets, I mean, still got a tailor-made game plan. But we'll talk
Danny
about
in
that.
the gym, bro. I know Danny's working on it, bro. You better get your hand game up, because Danny's sweet hands.
I've seen Danny. I know I've seen Danny at his best, and I've seen him at his worst. I know what he does. Remember, I called him out, so I ain't scared. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go to, I guess, the last part of the show, which is probably going to take up the most at this particular time. So we are going to go to Joyce versus Zhilei Zhang, or Zhang Zhilei. So I've got basically two clips here. One is everything from round 1 to 5, and the other one is basically everything that occurred in round 6. So I'm gonna let Tony start this one off. It's a big 10-minute clip, so we should both be able to give our takes up until sort of the next one comes in. But Tony, yeah, please get us started on your thoughts.
Okay, so I actually had thought that this was going to be a difficult for Joyce before we even kicked off. I did think that there was a chance that Zhang could pull off an upset, and I based that thought process on the fact that Zhang was a southpaw. I've seen Joyce live in the flesh fighting a southpaw in Alexander Usyk when he was an amateur at York Hall. I also based it on the fact that Joyce was coming down in weight, whereas Zhang is a big, strong 18-stone man, and he knows how to carry his weight well. Now, what I did want to factor in was the fact that Zhang tends to fight in 2-3 round spurts, and this is what I think paid dividends for Filip Hrgović in their fight, because Hrgović was able to profit when Zhang takes rounds off. And we know Joyce never takes rounds off. However, it was clear to me that the way Zhang has fought previously, especially in what I thought was a winning performance against Filip Hrgović, that he was going to be difficult for Joyce. Now, the thing is, Joyce is a technician. Yeah, he basically wants to stand in front of you and hit you with overhand rights, straight rights. There was the overhand right missing badly. He wants to hit you with straight rights to the body. He wants to come at you with left hooks. You know, you see the overhand right again, falling short. You know, he does have a decent probing jab, but in this particular situation, from the get-go, Zhang was able to negate Joyce's jab. And pretty much because of that, Joyce was falling short with most of what he was throwing. I'll say that again. Because Zhang was able to negate Joyce's jab, Joyce was falling short with a lot of his work. You see that that right, straight right, it falls short. You know, his pouring jab doesn't get remotely into the face of Zhang. It's not like a solid Larry Holmes type jab, or even, you know, one of my favorites, a Tommy Hitman Hearns type jab. He has just a pouring jab. Yeah. And because Zhang was able to negate it, as I said, a lot of Joyce's work falls short. And in that situation, we're seeing now Zhang on the attack. He's able to basically counter with his own stiff straight left, straight down the pipe. And obviously, everybody who's anybody can see that he's hitting him with regularity with that left. Now, it baffles me. I see people saying, oh, Israel Salas, you know, he's got, you know, this world-renowned trainer who's great, and, you know, he's done all these wonderful things with former fighters, and he's got other fighters in his camp. And I'm like, well, for all of what you say, the fact that Joyce has zero defense, yeah, except being able to have a granite chin and take punches from anybody and everybody, you know, and I got to give Joe credit. You know, he takes all these shots, but he doesn't fall down. But there's going to come a point where the chin isn't just going to be able to help you, because there are boxers out there who will take advantage of your somewhat pedestrian boxing style. Now, anyone who's seen my top 5 or top 10 heavyweights will see I had Joyce very high up in my rankings. And I still have him, and this is going to be very controversial, I still have him above Anthony Joshua. Yeah, I see you, Base. I see you. He's going berserk in the background now. And yeah, it's very controversial, my opinion. But my opinion is basically that the Anthony Joshua that we've seen in his last 2 fights, I still think Joyce beats him, because he has to show spite and aggression in a fight to be able to effectively outbox Joyce. And I just don't see that. Now, on the other hand, Joyce doesn't throw punches with bad intention. You know, he's got heavy hands, which he just hits you with regularly. And through accumulation, he gets to his fighters eventually. And that's why Joseph Parker was able to last as long as he did. In this situation, those punches were falling way short, and he wasn't able to affect Zhilei Zhang in any way near the same way that he was able to do against Joseph Parker. And quite clearly, the fact that his eye was immediately damaged from the lefts of Zhilei Zhang meant that this fight could not go on too long, because Zhang realized that, hey, I've got this guy in a position where if I keep banging onto this eye, the referee will have to stop it. And I know there are people out there who believe that Howard Foster stepped in early. That eye was not getting any better. That eye was not getting any better. And I know it's good to hear that he's been to the hospital, he's had the eye looked at, and there's no long-lasting damage. There's no orbital fracture or damage. But that eye was clearly not going to get any better. I'm pretty certain he was very restricted in his vision. And to me, if Zhang steps up his pace for 1 or 2 rounds, you know, it could have got a lot worse for Joyce. But, you know, it is what it is. I've given my opinion. As I said, I think Joyce, with his medium power shots, which are still hurtful shots to most fighters, yeah, you know, was just not able to do anything to deter Zhilei Zhang. I'm pretty certain by round 4 or 5, Zhang is thinking, well, he doesn't hit hard, does he? You know, and look at this jab. You know, this jab, everything is falling short. Literally, how many rounds have we watched so far of Base's great pictures? And you know, to me, there's nothing that's hurtful about anything that Joyce is throwing. You know, he's throwing, you know, regularly, which is what he does. You know, his punch output is still ridiculously high. And there are rounds that he wins in this fight because he just outworks you, you know. And I say to my kids again in the gym, I always say, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, you know. Zhang, at some points in this fight, just doesn't throw enough to win the rounds. And therefore, you have to give certain rounds to Joyce because he will just keep throwing punches. And even if a lot of those punches fall short, hit arms, the fact that he's working means that you have to give him rounds. But as I said, nothing is hurting. A lot of his stuff is hitting gloves. You know, the hooks, you know, Zhang is able to see and catch those. But that right, as you can see, the left of Zhang, straight down the pipe, is just absolutely monstrous and hits Joyce continuously to the point that the referee does have to come in and make the stoppage. That's me, Base.
Man took up almost the whole clip. Well, all right. So I'm gonna just sort of try and break down what we're seeing at the rest of this. So this now is at round 5, where Joyce is obviously sort of coming forward, but as you can see there, he's still just getting peppered. Right hands, left hands. Yeah, Zhang is taking time off, but everything Zhang is doing is effective, whereas everything Joyce is doing, virtually none of it is landing, which is the reason why he wasn't winning the majority of these rounds. Because for everything that he landed, Zhang probably landed the same, which was more impactful. Now, if you look at the CompuBot stats, I think it was something like Joyce landed 85 punches from 482 or something like that, whereas Zhang threw 180 punches and landed 82. So he's like, it was of 18% to 46% connect rate ratio throughout the fight, which is exactly why, even though Joyce is being active, ineffective activity doesn't win you the rounds. Nothing's landing, as you can kind of see through a lot of that. A lot was blocked, a lot was on the gloves. So, look, with regards to the fight, I feel as if a lot of people are making out that, oh, him being 18 stone 4 was an issue. Yeah, I don't think so personally, because he was 18 stone 6 against Daniel Dubois, and that was probably, to me, his best overall performance. He barely got hit in that fight. The jab was popping, the jab was smooth throughout lockdown. Like, obviously, the jab, he just controlled the whole fight through the jab, busted up the eye through the jab, and it was just a case that he was a lot lighter on his feet. His feet, as I've always said, he's always actually a very agile guy. His feet are a lot quicker than people actually give credit for. His jab is always faster than people give credit for. It's just the rest of his tactics that or the rest of his punch combinations where things kind of fall apart. But by that time, he's normally got on top of someone in terms of the round and how things are going. He's very much like an on top fighter. As soon as he's sort of dominating and making the other person have to kind of cover up and sort of throw in between a salvo, that's where he's actually his most effective. He sort of just kind of dominates from that sort of from that position, but he's never had someone to be able to just push him back, or someone who's as big, arguably as strong, definitely hits a lot harder, but someone that's basically not afraid to stand in the middle of the ring with you and trade. That's not, I think the issue was not his weight. The issue was the tactics he employed, because I feel like the tactics he employed, rather than sticking on the outside and making Zhang have to move his legs constantly to come towards him, he kept circling to Zhang's to the right towards Zhang's power hand, especially after the first round, and then he kept falling in over the jab. So rather than coming round the side of the jab to to sort of find his angle and then make Zhang have to reset, he kept basically jabbing on the wrong side and then falling into it, which is what allowed Zhang to basically get those the right hook off and the straight backhand. It was just one of those performances where the tactics is what done him in, as opposed to the weight. Personally, I feel like if he was 8 pounds heavier, a stone heavier, I reckon it may have actually been worse, because even though he would have, okay, you say he's got more absorption on the shots, he's not going to be able to get out of the way of them quicker. If we saw the Joseph Parker fight, he couldn't get out of the way of anything, being 271 pounds. His biggest asset was the fact that he was pushing Joseph Parker back, and he was he was actually just getting on top, and really just forcing his way onto this guy that weighed 25 pounds less than he did, or 15-16 pounds less than he did. Whereas in that first Daniel Dubois fight, he was on his toes. He was a lot more nimble in and out. And whenever he's been lighter, he's been a lot more nimble, and been able to move. That's the same reason he was getting hit a lot by Carlos Takam and Christian Hammer, because he was coming in at like career heaviest weights, or weights that were too big. So yeah, he can steamroll someone, but in terms of actually preempting the movement and being able to be a bit more fluid and light on his feet, he just wasn't able to do it. So yeah, my opinion, he should have sort of like stuck around the target, made Zhang have to work, and then when Zhang was trying to take his breaks, that's when you go in for the kill. But after he sort of got pinged with a few things, it's almost like everything went out the head, and he just reverted to type. Now, if we go to the last round, where Howard Foster's basically has put Zhang in the corner. Now, you guys don't even see this on the main broadcast, but he already thinks he's won the fight. He's there dancing in the corner and everything. He's like, so the referees of the doctors asking him, eyes, everything. He's like, okay, cool. So he lets him out, and Zhang's ready. He's ready to go. So okay, at this point, so Joyce knows now that it's all or nothing, because this fight could likely get stopped. So he starts trying to apply the pressure, as you guys can see here. He's just trying to find his way through with the jab so that he can land that backhand, but his angle isn't right. He's just square on right in front of Zhang, just giving Zhang a big target to be able to hit. Again, Zhang just there tucking up. He's just popping that backhand out just to kind of see where it lands, and then basically there, just head to head. He's comfortable now. There's no snap in anything that Joyce is doing. So now he just starts to take a bit more advantage, as you can see there. Big overhand left. He hit him with the right hook just before that. He's tucking up again. Joyce is trying to move him. Joyce can't move him. Joyce is getting pushed back at this point. And Zhang just like, I thought you had more than this. Zhang just there looking to set up everything. He's gone into a southpaw finish show. We've never seen Zhang do that before. He's just having a whale of a time. He's like, all right, all of this, and then he's gonna come back again and pop the left back in his face. There, right there again, in the eye again. Combo again. He's like, okay, you've had your chance. Now it's my turn. I've taken my breather. You're trying to push me. Okay, look, I'm gonna move you now. You're not the juggernaut tonight. And the ref just stops it here, and you say, oh no, okay, we need to see what's kind of going on. So you'll see me zoom into the eye, as y'all can see there, it's looking bad. I'm not gonna lie, but he gets the answers right to the question, so he can still see out of it. But the writing's on the wall because Zhang does not look like he's about to gas in the next moment. Whether he's slowing down, he's taking rounds off or whatever, he's still effective. He's still popping the eye of every shot that he throws. And now the ref's just like, no, I'm just, it's over. And you can see Zhang in the back. And big up him, because lifting 20 stone like that is not easy. I've done that in the gym. You need preparation for that. Man just did it calm. But yeah, and that's all she wrote. Like, that's literally how it went. So look, back to the drawing board for Joyce. He's got to do a lot more southpaw sparring. He's got to learn to not stand side on. I mean square on, sorry. Clearly I feel like his brain just kind of went into default mode into fighting general orthodox, and that's the stance he would be in for the orthodox guys to land his backhand. And I don't feel like he felt comfortable to be able to throw his backhand from a sideways stance. And ultimately, that was just the issue that he caught, that he fell into. And it just looks like his body mechanics just do not suit southpaws. He can't turn quickly enough with them. The way he rotates when he's going through the left and he's going through the right, and has to do it in the reverse order when they're stepping around the side of him. I just don't think he's got that. So I think he needs to forget about trying to fight someone like Usyk. Maybe even forget the Zhang rematch personally, and just go back to fighting orthodox fighters. You can get orthodox fighter with a belt. Like, they'll scatter soon enough. You can get one that way if that's really what you want. But we've seen it now on 3 occasions. The Lenroy Thomas one kind of showed you a little bit. Obviously, Usyk showed you instantaneously how poor he deals with a southpaw. And this one, he just he was just tailor-made for Zhang's backhand all night. And unfortunately, he's lost his interim title, so he's lost his mandatory position. He might even be better off trying to see if he can get a fight with Filip Hrgović and see if he can get that route and go the IBF route now. But I just don't think Zhang will. I just don't think he's suited for that. I think Zhang will always beat him now because he's got the measure of him, and he just knows what to do to land and affect him. So yeah.
I agree with you, Base. Further still, I want to put the credit and give the flowers to Zhilei Zhang, because when you look at the record of the last 2 fights, most people would have scored him the winner against Filip Hrgović, and obviously now he beats Joyce, who many people, I think, had him in a top 10. Certainly, there are a couple that, like myself, had him top 5. Zhilei Zhang is to me catapulted himself into the fray to be, obviously he's now mandatory, to be spoken about with the highest of the high. To me, he goes past Filip Hrgović, despite the record saying no. But it's interesting. Thank you for putting that up for me, because I do want to talk about this. Is it fair to say this is the first big puncher Joyce has been in the ring against? No. And I want to say this. Joyce at no point in this fight looked like he was ever going down. Yes, there was a couple of decent shots second round where you're like, he's wobbled him. Yeah? In that, it got him off balance. Yeah? Not wobbled as in, oh, wobbly legs. No, I'm off balance. Yeah? Round 2. But at no point does Zhilei Zhang make me think, oh, he's about to take him out. Now, could he take him out? That's a different question. We'll never know the answer. But to me, this is not the first time Joyce has fought a big puncher, because Joe Parker, who you mentioned in your next tweet, caught Joyce with some of the most beautiful overhand rights you will ever see. And Joyce walked through them. And for you to say Joe Parker is not a big puncher, I think you need to look at some of his fights. But the
Well, no,
thing
he
that
says he's
makes
not.
it
He
look
says he's
like,
not a big puncher on the world stage. You have to put it in context. He
okay,
hasn't
I think
KO'd anyone in the world stage. That's a fair assessment.
that okay, we can say that. But to me personally, yeah, you give a guy, any guy like Joyce, clear daylight and say, go on, hit me with your best shot. And this is what happens. Joyce got hit with Joseph Parker's best shot and walked through it. Let me tell you something else. He walked through Zhilei Zhang's best shot.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he
His
did.
best shot had him. His best shot had him doing on the ropes, running the ropes like WWE. What are you talking about?
Did the legs go wobbly?
Yes, they went wobbly. They
No,
dipped
they didn't, bro.
several times. You want to put the
No,
clip
they
back on?
didn't. No, I'll tell you what happens, bro.
Go on, tell me.
Let me explain what I see. Yeah? You know when you hit a guy and he's all over the place, yeah? Because he's basically hit him and his legs are not in the right position. Yeah. So if I'm an orthodox fighter and I'm facing a southpaw and he hits me in the right place, my body is now going against the positioning of my legs. Or if my legs are square, yeah, and I hit you, you're gonna wobble. Yeah. There's a difference between being caught with your legs in the wrong position and looking like, okay, you caught me off balance, and me hitting you and your legs doing a zab judah. Yeah? Because that's what we're talking about. When the legs go and then you start doing a James Brown. Hey, I don't know where I'm at. No, Joyce don't do that. Yeah? He gets caught. If you force a guy back, the footwork goes out the window. Yeah? He's no great footwork guy anyway. Yeah, he don't come in and slip shots and dance around the outside like Lomachenko. He don't have that in and out like Terrence Bud Crawford. He's not that guy. I'm gonna stand in front of you and just work you, but. And then because of that, Zhang was very successful because, as I said, Zhang was like able to measure where the shots were gonna be and just counter with his straight left, and he catches Joe off balance several times and makes him look like, oh, hang on a second, whoa. Now, as I said, that doesn't mean to say that down the line, if the eye doesn't get damaged the way it does, that he doesn't take out Joyce with accumulation of punches. But up to that point in round 6, to me, Joyce's chin is infallible.
Well,
I know what
not.
you mean, Tony. He hit him at good angle. His legs was never gone. Joyce didn't do a Chris Eubank Jr. Thank you.
Well, I'm not going to dispute that his chin held up. Yes, his chin did hold up. The chin wasn't the issue. But the difference here in this fight, as opposed to every single one of his other fights, there's been no other time he's been hit. Because you tried to say that Joseph Parker is a massive puncher or a big puncher, however you want to phrase it. But Joseph Parker, as you said, landed flush on him several times, and at no time did Joyce step backwards or take a backward step. He kept moving forward, or he stood in position and then moved forward.
Mm-hmm.
Zhang is the first person to punch, and I'm not even talking about the second round. Let's go to the first round. The third, the fourth, he's the first person to punch Joyce to the point where he is actually moving backwards with each shot. And that wasn't just angles. That was who else done it? Who else done it?
Usyk. Look at the fight with Usyk. Usyk punishes Joyce in that fight. I was there. He's punishing him. Joyce doesn't have an answer for southpaws, especially mobile southpaws, which Zhang isn't. But I'm going to look at that fight with Usyk. Usyk destroys Joyce. He's got him doing cartwheels all over the ring.
All right, now he's using hyperbole.
I lie?
Yeah, that's a bit. It's not exactly that, but I'll give you the angles. Yes, he hit him from certain angles, and Joyce had to reset on those particular angles. But also, we're talking about a Joyce that was 220 pounds at the time. So they were very similar in way. We're talking about this Joyce, who is, this big, muscular, massive guy. And all right, so you want to say Usyk from what, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 2014, 2015, somewhere around there, right? Well, we're in 2023 now. So everyone from pro up until now has not moved this guy off his feet or off his trajectory, at least from coming
Yeah.
forward, except Zhilei Zhang. So that tells you that must be the most power that this guy has faced as a professional. True or false?
True.
It can't all just be tripping or feet getting, because the feet weren't getting tangled in it. It's not like Zhang was putting his foot behind his lead foot and punching and basically tripping him over. No, he was getting caught and getting pushed back by the power of the shot. And
Okay.
I'll happily send you the footage, and obviously you can just analyze that in your own time and have a look at certain parts, because the broadcast shows you one thing. My footage will kind of show you something a little bit different. But let's check some of these comments before we get out of it. Right. So
I got to push back on this. The referee did not ruin Joyce's career for the sake of a black eye. That was not just a black eye, Rosie. You're in round
we say
6.
that. Oh, hold on.
Another 6 rounds.
To be fair,
That eye ain't getting any better.
But to be fair to Rosie, there's no damage to the socket. There's no breaks and no nothing. It was just a bruise. It was a black eye. It was a swollen black eye. So we don't know if he could still see out of the eye, right? We established that because he was getting the answers right to the ref. So therefore, there is no way to now say that with the eye being as it was, that there wasn't a chance that he could have still carried on. And she makes a brilliant point here. Have a look at round 10 of Corrales versus Castillo.
Terrible.
At the end of the day, we can't deny history. We've seen it happen numerous times. The eye was bad, but the eye was not broken. The eye was not bleeding. It was swollen, but he could still see out of it. He couldn't see.
Yeah, back
he
in
wasn't
the
able.
Corrales Castillo days, you had people fighting with arms out of their sockets, Danny Williams, and still winning fights with one hand. Not going to happen in these days, bro.
I think Usyk was tagging him a lot, but I don't think Joyce was taking backward steps. He just kept walking into Usyk's peppering shots. That's what Ronan 7. Fair enough. Anyway, look, we could debate this all night. We do these things, but we want to respect the time. The show's over. Basically, we're gonna leave the rest of it. Everyone can make their own judgments. Please go into the comments after the show and leave some comments there so that we can respond and stuff. And if there's anything that maybe we haven't said that you would like us to address, I'll be reading the comments tomorrow. I'll respond to everyone who's here. And Tony says he will do it as well, so I trust him. But no, Rosie, you have made some great points. I want to give you another shout out. We've not seen you before. Please get a picture as a thumbnail so that we can highlight for next time. But yes, so there is a chance that he could have. I reckon, yes, he could have carried on at that point. But I do feel like if he did carry on, he would have got stopped sooner or later. That is, so I feel like the ref kind of protected him from himself a bit. But I do understand that. They're being there in the arena. I mean, to be honest, I think I was the first person to talk about, oh, could this get stopped because of the eye? Because I tweeted it from round 4, at the end of round 4. And then obviously coming in the round 6, you kind of see what's happened. So, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. As you can see down on the ticker tape, as Tony just put down there, it's all my handles, BaseDaKID, the hardcore casual, on YouTube, just BaseDaKID on the Instagram, but don't really go on there if you want activity. I'm not really active on Insta at the moment. I am going to get the TikTok sorted out before October Red kills me. And on Twitter, it's B_A_S_E, but you can type in BaseDaKID and it does show up. So yeah, that's me out the way. Tony, do your thing. And as for Tony,
thank you guys. Yeah, to Rosie, thank you very much for your comments. We strive and we try our best to interact with our guests and our followers. So please thank you to yourself for commenting, and we look forward to more and more of your comments as we go along. Of course, you know, some of our commenters do end up commenting live on Monday Night Smoke. So if you haven't been on that platform, please do come in on Monday Night Smoke as well, where we do have people coming on and getting involved in what is Monday Night Smoke with KG and Trav. My details as they've been coming along underneath. Tony Pugilist Boy, do have a YouTube channel, but most of my work goes on Instagram, where it isn't Pugilist Boy, it is Pugilistic Boy on Instagram, where most of my content takes place. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Just before we go, I'm gonna read this from Danny, because he did highlight to it. So it said, everyone talks about throwback fighters, but don't let the new breed move throwback because of a swollen or one closed eye, which he could still see out of, as he got the numbers of fingers correct with the doctor. So yeah, obviously that's he said that before Rosie sort of came in, so I just wanted to make sure he saw that. But yeah, bless up. Thank you, Rosie. We will keep well. Hope you do as well. Let's get rid of that banner. Everyone else, have a great night, whatever you're doing, and we will catch you next week. Peace.